Yes, GTA 5 is actually running on this with a little bit of help from a 3080 Ti, which is then borrowing power from my actual computer. This Ethernet cable is plugged into my ONT, which is all the way upstairs, goes into this SBC, which then shares the internet to my computer, which technically means this is a router. Yes, it's running Windows. Yes, it's a mess. It's technically routing internet right now. So this is a router and we are currently gaming on it. I can show you. Obviously, it's going to run well because it's a 3080 Ti. But let me show you the setup a little bit better. So the setup is this, right? We are borrowing power from my main gaming PC because obviously we can't power the entire 3080 Ti off this. We have Windows installation here connected by SATA. So that's pretty standard practice. You have those 2.5 gig Ethernet ports right here. So that's where the PPPoE internet comes in. That comes out. You can see the cable just goes right back into, goes from here to there, plugged right in. They negotiated 2.5 gigs here, but I don't know why it's like that here. Doesn't really matter. We can do a quick speed test, but it's not really gonna do much because first of all, Windows driver for broadband connections is not the best. I think it's single threaded and GTA 5 is taking the entire CPU, so obviously right now it's not going to be the best internet speed. Okay, close GTA because this room is starting to get boiling. So I have a gigabit connection, which means I should be getting a 900 down. It's pushing the CPU to the max. It's doing 200 down here and 100 up because yeah, I get 100 up. So that's pretty accurate here. If we actually do the same speed test on my normal computer, it pulls like 600, maybe 700. It's downloading 600 and uploading 600. So it's how does that work? How is passing through better on Windows? 200 here and like 600, 700 here, something like that, right? How does that work? How does in, out, who processes it, who does it? Obviously you would run OPN sense, PF sense, OpenWRT on this directly, right? Because who runs a router on Windows? I mean, it's great in a pinch, right? But this is just for demo purposes. I do not condone this. This isn't legit. This is just for the intro, okay? So let me show you what this is and what it can actually do. First, we need to take off this. Oh, perfect timing. First, we need to take this out of the equation, right? So, yeah. Oh wow, I can't believe that worked. No more helping from the 3080. We're back to just the ZimaBoard and the SATA SSD connected to it. I do have a couple more to test with, so that is yet to come. But for now, I just wanted to go through what this little device is and see how much we can push it and see what it can do. So what are we torturing today? Icewell sent this ZimaBoard 2 over for me to test and play around with. We're going to be installing stuff that it's not really built for or meant to do. But what it is meant to do is basically be your local NAS or your local router. Obviously not the Windows version, not the Windows router. You're supposed to install something proper on this, either using their ZimaOS, which is just one-click installs all over the place, or if you want to be really advanced and technical, you can install directly bare metal because it's just a normal x86 computer, right? So the CPU on this is the Intel N150. The model I have here is 8 gigs of RAM with 32 gigs of eMMC storage, and there is a version with 16 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs of eMMC storage just to run the operating system on here. Of course, as you saw in the intro, you can plug in SATA ports and just boot off that. By default, it's built to be a NAS and your local server kind of doing all the Docker containers. So yeah, you have that SATA power with 2 SATA ports. Then on this side, you have a PCIe 3.0 port. This is 4x lanes, I believe. When I had the good old 3080 plugged in, it's not running at 16x because obviously the rest of the slot is missing, but 4x is still, for graphics cards, usually more than enough. You're probably losing like 10% performance. You can get a carrier to get NVMe M.2 SSDs, plug those in directly, and they'll be super fast, definitely faster than SATA. So you can have M.2 SSDs here, SATA hard drives here, then you have a mini DisplayPort port, 2.5 gig Intel Ethernet ports, and these are 2 USB 3.1 ports, so a little bit faster than 3.0. I think it's 10 gigabit. I don't know, USB is very confusing, but definitely very good USB ports. You could even run an OS off of this, no problem at all. And of course, just a typical PowerPoint barrel jack. I did attach to a fan because we are in a 4th heat wave here in the UK. It's really scorching hot. In hotter climates, you will need a little fan. It is very quiet. You don't even hear it at all. You would think this doesn't help, but this fan really does help to keep this cool. But you can just take this off, disconnect the fan header, and it can be run passively, no problem at all. Again, you're going to be running a bunch of containers that just run 24/7 and just sit there in the corner. A bunch of hard drives in here. It's just going to sit on top like this. It's going to run your entire network just fine, no problem at all. So what I want to do is look inside. I only got to take apart the bottom layer of this just to plug in the fan. So just take this off. Pretty nice. I like that black PCB. You can replace the CMOS battery whenever it stops charging and working. There might be a hidden screw under here. Yeah, I see that. Damn, really on there. Ah, look at that. Nice bit of thermal goop. Wow, that is a dense PCB. That's definitely the CPU. Is that the GPU usually next to the CPU, or is it something else? I guess power phases, stuff like that. A bit of RAM, maybe 4 gigs here, 4 gigs there. Pretty compact PCB, lots of stuff going on here. Just the size of a Raspberry Pi, really. Ever so slightly bigger. This is a really solid piece of metal. Is this like aluminum or something like that? Like, god damn, very heavy. Some good cooling coming off of that for sure. Okay, let me put this back together so we can start messing around. I'm just quickly putting this together just so it's easier to manage everything. I'll need to go find some hard drives to put in here. So far so good, looking pretty nice. Looks like a unit, a very exposed engine NAS, you know. So this rack comes with a PCIe riser, so you would essentially plug it in, it goes around, and then you would hook up one of these on the side, goes from the bottom, screws in here. You have your port here instead of here. And then you can plug in another Ethernet card, your M.2 SSDs, anything that's PCIe. You might want to bend this off so you can plug in a full RTX 4090 in here or something like that. Maybe a 5090 so you can do your local AI on this as well. Pretty nice riser, good quality. Plug this in, go around, and then it would just end up right here. Or you could just use this as an extender without this little box, and then have your graphics card here somewhere. A bit more spaced out, not like in the intro where it just has to be married together. Okay, actually don't make my mistake and reuse the little screws at the bottom that come with the ZimaBoard, because they are way too short. They still somehow hold on, but it must be by atoms, because when you get the rack tray for the hard drives, you get longer screws that actually are supposed to replace them and actually go in. These original screws that come with it, they do hold on, but you're really not supposed to use them. If you compare the original on the right and the ones that you're supposed to use on the left, make sure to use the longer ones so everything is actually secure. And you get a spare one, so that's always nice. I also found some donor hard drives to demo with. One's a 1 terabyte, one's a 2 terabytes, so a little bit of a mismatch. It should kind of behave something like this. After a little bit, just like maybe like 10 minutes, this is pretty much the finished product. Really, really heavy. You have these little rubber feet, it won't go anywhere. So you use these little magnetic legs or something like that. So if you put it on some metal or near some server rack, it'll attach there and be a bit more stable. So we have the ZimaBoard 2 on top, then we have both SATA ports plugging in directly into the hard drives. I won't be able to showcase this right now because these two do have data on them. You can do RAID 0 and RAID 1 in ZimaOS or in Proxmox, or you can also attach more M.2 drives here on the side. Usually small cards will just go right in and they'll fit perfectly in here. I'm sure you already noticed a little bit of rattling. These screws that secure the hard drive, perfectly fine here for the 2 terabyte hard drive, but this Seagate 1 terabyte hard drive, the holes are just very short, so this doesn't fully go in. You kind of screw, and then it stops. It's not the fault of the ZimaBoard or this rack or anything like that. It's literally just the screw in the hard drive. Quick PSA, if you're getting this, watch out. Check your hard drive before buying or before using it, because yeah, you just screw and then that's it. You stop right here. Whereas the 2 terabyte one, no problem at all. It's screwed in all the way. Also these toolless screws, perfect, no problem at all. I just screwed them in by hand. So this a bigger one, doesn't rattle because it has a little pass-through, little extra space for the screw. This Seagate one rattles a little bit. So this is pretty much like the full power what you can do with this. Plug in all these ports here and it'll be used to its full potential. What I am going to be using this for though is with my SSDs. So I'll take these hard drives out. I forgot to show you the actual box. You rip it off, open it up, welcomes you very nicely. Nice welcome card. So first one is the accessories. You do get the screwdrivers. You also get the various plug adapters. And actually they have a little trick up their sleeve. So when you open the box, you can see this line here. If you cut this off, you can use this as a little makeshift case. So you don't even need to get this if you don't have any hard drives. This is actually meant for the SSDs. If you're only using SSDs, it's gonna look a little silly. Whereas you can just place them in here, just like that. Place this cardboard down. It doesn't get hot enough to set it on fire, and there's plenty of ventilation right here. Cut this neatly. So you essentially just get one of these lips under, kind of bi-directional, so you can just get it under and push down. Pretty stable in here. You can do it the other way, exact same thing. Pretty cool design, and you still have that PCIe slot open, so then you can just do one of these. And it actually balances pretty well. I mean, that's your entire server right there. Okay, but all jokes aside, let's see how should we do this. Place it like that. Then I have my Windows drive, and then I have my CachyOS drive. Because I heard CachyOS is the best Linux right now. That's the hottest one. Either CachyOS or Bazzite. Bazzite for gaming. CachyOS can also game, I think. So we'll see how that goes. There's your makeshift case right there. If you don't want slow hard drives, you can have 2 SSDs. Also put them in RAID 0 or 1. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to work. Place it in the corner somewhere in the server rack, somewhere far away where no one sees it, and it can just run, no problem at all. Quick little intermission before we go to the next part. If you're going to try to do something like this, make sure you account for this little part, because as you can see, I had to bend it up a little bit. It's usually straight and this wouldn't plug in. Obviously, it's not a problem if you use the riser, but for this purpose right here, either you can bend it up or you can remove these screws and take it off, and you don't have to bend it. I hope it bends back straight, but just for this, I had to do a bit of bending here. Also, you kind of lose the access to the mini display port on the ZimaBoard itself, so you can't really use the onboard GPU, but you have however many output ports here. So I guess it doesn't matter. How it matters really depends on you. Also, obviously, you will have to do some sort of donating of power from your computer or just have your own PSU. This won't give enough power here. You need like 6,000 watts from this, so come on. However, it might work for like a really low powered one, like a 20 watts or something like that. I don't even know if this actually outputs a little bit. It might output a little tiny bit of power. Also, another quick quirk, I think once this is all turned on, this provides power this way. So if you unplug this for a little bit, okay. Well, it worked before I had it running for like a minute, so I guess that's not how PCIe works. Anyway, I have to go because the solar eclipse is about to start. Just wanted to let you know. Yep, that's definitely an eclipse. Okay, so this is the BIOS. I actually do want to go through the BIOS real quick. Usually you get a BIOS that's really locked down. This is quite the opposite of that. Everything is quite literally unlocked. So if you're anything like me that loves going through every single setting, this is right up your alley. But to be honest, this is too much even for me. And seeing all of these extra options would have been nice in my previous video where I did the Razer Hackintosh. We had to mod the BIOS to get all these options. All these things like DVMT pre-allocated and all that. We had to go through so many hoops just to get that out. And this just has it open. So I love BIOS like this. You can tweak it to your heart's content and most likely break it. By the way, to get into the BIOS, you smash the subscribe button. I'm just kidding, it's actually just the delete button. Mash the delete button and then I use it for the boot override. So let's go into the Windows installation. Again, it's just an N150 Intel CPU. You don't need to mess around. There's no compatibility issues or anything like that. It just kind of works, you know, like your normal computer. I forgot it's not a router anymore, so I need to give it some actual internet from my Switch here. Okay, sorry for the blown out capture card. I need to get something else, honestly, but I can't believe that it's just running. I think this is 800 by 600, pretty much like 60 FPS, something like that. Of course, the entire thing is screaming for its life, but damn it, if I have the host speedometer, I'm gonna use the host speedometer. There is no bottleneck. Everyone is doing their part. Look, even the SSD is doing a little bit. Oh, just okay. There we go. Yeah, that is looking very nice. Give it a sec. Eventually, Oh, there we go. Perfect. There's no problems. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's all good. Nah, it's fine. Just slap NVIDIA Ray Tracing 6 and this will be fine. I think we might be having some problems with... Ah, there it is. Who put the texture quality at maximum? I'm pretty sure this will run much better once we put it all to more sensible settings. And dare I say, we might even be able to push 720 at these settings. Oh, never mind. We have Microsoft Edge, and I just saw Windows Health and Experiences just absolutely eating up the disk. So that also doesn't help. This is not GTA's fault. We just gotta get the new Edge installer, like way more important than new gaming. Come on. Okay, seems like it's running much better. And even at 720p, like now that Windows has stopped doing its shenanigans, this is definitely playable. Again, we are running off 8 gigs of RAM, and that is being shared between the GPU and the CPU. I'm pretty sure if we had 16 gigs of RAM, this wouldn't be a problem. And another thing is, we are running on Windows. Currently, we're in 2026, and gaming on Linux is pretty viable. And also, Linux doesn't eat RAM at all. Theoretically, we might get better performance over on something like Bazzite or CachyOS. See, like if you stop and let everything settle, it might just unload some old stuff and load some new stuff in. See, there you go. It's something like PS2 streaming in some data, you know, look at that. Just don't drive too fast is the solution for this one. With Windows probably eating like a good 2-3 gigs of RAM. Let's have a look on how GTA 5 runs on the Linux side of things. I already prepared CachyOS, so it's a pretty fast install. You just put it on a USB, do the live installer. It was pretty painless, just like any other Linux install. I tried to have a look around, but I think for a first timer like me, Steam is the safest bet for me to run GTA 5, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'll just let it do its thing and Proton will do the rest. I guess I need to process it, but this is taking a little while. The GTA 5 settings are exactly the same as they were on Windows. First of all, I can't even believe this just runs so seamlessly. This is my first taste of the Linux challenge, and I can't believe that gaming on Linux has become pretty easy. So, you know, I just open Steam, press play, and pretty much it works. The anti-cheat stuff still needs to be worked out, but this is like, what, 12, 13, 14 watts in total, and it's playing GTA 5 on 720p in Linux. So we don't have the Windows bloat. It's a bit more lean. Been driving around a little bit, and as soon as I say that, just as I say it, it was going so well. It wasn't even using the full RAM. While it worked, it was going really well. I wonder if it's anything to do with those Vulkan shaders, because I've also had CachyOS just kill the game outright when it ran out of memory. So yeah, there you go. It's also this social club helper and everything like that. That's also probably not helping. Yeah, this thing might be causing some other problems as well. It's probably doing shaders as you're driving around and then crashing the whole thing. But that's all right. If GTA 5 can run on this on the N150 in Windows and Linux, anything below that performance, such as like retro games, PS2 emulation, something like that, Batocera or something, it'll eat through that no problem at all. If you want to be gaming on your router, ZimaBoard got you covered. Okay, just to throw in another little bit of a test. Here's Minecraft 26.23, I think that whatever the latest one is right now. 4 gigs allocated, 64 chunks, just basically everything maxed out. Obviously still loading, and the CPU and the GPU are being hammered. Once it loads up, it'll settle down and it'll be pretty good FPS. I mean, obviously you wouldn't play at max like this on a little CPU like that, but the fact that it runs, and 15 years ago if I had 20 FPS on Minecraft, I would be very, very happy. So this doesn't break a sweat. And that's the thing, instead of playing Minecraft on it, you could use this as a Minecraft server and it'll run it just fine. If you want to be a little bit more comfortable, you might want to get a 16 gigs of RAM version. Putting it back to something a bit more sensible, 50, 60 FPS. This is perfectly playable. 1080p, 60 FPS. I can't believe this runs so well. Of course, I'm not surprised it runs this well on Linux. It's just Java. But yeah, for anyone who wanted to know, there you go. That's the performance. Dare I say perfect. So before this turns into a Minecraft Let's Play, let's jump into ZimaOS and actually doing what you're meant to do with the OS that ships with ZimaBoard. So the ZimaBoard comes pre-installed with the ZimaOS, which is basically Icewell's answer to Proxmox. It runs on the eMMC. It provides lots of one-click options to install whatever kind of self-hosted programs you would really need. Makes it pretty easy. Let me show you. So this is the GPU output. You basically turn on the ZimaBoard and it goes to this. You don't really need to worry about it. What you do is you actually manage this entire thing from its IP, which you can see here. In my case, it's 192.168.653. So this terminal access is only really useful when you need to do something directly on it. So if you do Alt F2 and you type in root, don't have a password set, so you can just go straight into it. Runs Linux. Comes with HTOP. HTOP from the get-go uses around 1 gig of RAM. So you have the rest to self-hosted apps. You usually use this when you can't recover and you need to like reset a password or repair something or whatever. You don't really look at this. So actually let's switch over to how you're supposed to use it. Okay, so when you go to the device's IP, you get to ZimaOS. I already went through the first time setup, so sorry about that. But you just set up a password and agree to the terms and conditions. Let's have a look. We have the CPU and RAM right here. You can see the network activity. The main stuff is happening in the app stores. I'm gonna try to install a whole bunch of things and see if I can even break it. Personally, for me, I would install AdGuard Home. Oh wow, that's pretty quick. Look at that. Done. I would use Cloudflare Daemon, Handbrake. I mean, this is an Intel chip, so Intel QuickSync is gonna render stuff pretty well. And I also suspect it's good for Jellyfin and Plex. Image, that's really good. Google Photos replacement, literally #1, so you can install that. JDownloader for those Linux ISOs. Let's get Jellyfin installed. Or if you're like me and you plug in your oversized graphics card, you can then get the NVIDIA GPU version of Jellyfin. Get NA10, NetData, that's really good. I use that at work all the time. Of course, with local AI getting better and better, you can also install Olama. You might want to get the 16 gig version because I don't think with 8 gigs you might not be able to do much. Of course, open speed test, you always want to get that. And then obsess about your local network speeds. Make sure every wire is doing its job properly. Might as well install Plex as well. Get Qubit Torrent, Tailscale for sure. So you can use this as an exit node. The whole idea is for it to be running 24/7. So the more exit nodes, the better. I mean, even if you have Ubiquiti Unify equipment, you can even self-host the Unify network application yourself. If you don't like Tailscale, you can go with WireGuard as well. Oh wow, there's actually other repos as well. This seems like a community repo. There's even more. That just get your own Chrome install. You can host so much. It's crazy. Okay, it's been a little bit. We have pretty much everything installed apart from these two because I didn't have storage. Kind of makes sense. Or maybe it's because I did everything at the same time and it might just install now. Try using these things. Look at that. You click on it and you can just set it up as expected. Yeah, works as it should. Actually, this is the first time seeing the GUI version of Cloudflare D. It really is one click. Just click install, click on the app, and you're here to set it up. Like even on Proxmox, yeah, you have more advanced options. You have to really know what you're doing, which Docker image to get or which LXC to get or what have you. Yes, on one hand, you have all the control that you want, but on the other hand, you have to spend a lot of time setting it up. And it really depends on the person. So if you want the easy way, this is pretty good. Same thing with Tailscale, it's crazy. Just click log in, it'll sort it out. Assume there's a log here. You can even look at the logs. I mean, yeah, I guess it is running like a container, so pretty easy to use. You get a terminal straight into the container, open speed test, bam, just like that. Speed test yourself. Where is this going? Is it going into itself? I have no idea what this is speed testing, but there's gigabit, so yeah, we got internet for sure. Okay, so yeah, some apps have some tips of what you need to do, but otherwise, yeah, you can just log right in. This also pops up with the found a new device. I assume these two are ready to make my drives into RAID 0 or RAID 1. Yeah, I don't want to mess around with the enabling and stuff like that. And yeah, you would just set up your NAS right here. Let's have a look at the other settings. So device info. Wow, 6,400 megahertz. Damn, that is some fast RAM. LPDDR5. Actually didn't even know that. That's some really fast RAM. Faster than my main PC, what the hell? Even get an UPS plugged in. Developer mode, I assume, yeah, join the beta, some extra access, SSH access, of course, if you want to remotely control everything. Let's have a look at the network. So both 2.5 gig. I can't test out to 2.5 gig because I don't have the equipment for it. I'll just trust them on their word. So it seems like it is running Docker under the hood. So I'm pretty sure most of this would be pretty familiar to people who used Docker before. It's minimal, but I like it. Just one click install, click open and you can use it. That's a quick overview of ZimaOS. Again, it is kind of meant to just be set it and forget it. It's not meant to be running Windows or some other operating system. Speaking of other operating systems, if you don't value your time, you can actually install Proxmox. So let me quickly set that up. So Proxmox does need a bit more storage, something like 200 gigs, maybe 500, a terabyte. So I have it running off that SATA SSD. Again, it's just like any other computer. You boot off the USB stick, install into the SSD or a hard drive, and then there you go. Just have to go to that IP again. Okay, and there it is, Proxmox, business as usual. If you used Proxmox before, this will be very familiar. So basically you just tie to how many resources you have. 1.3 gigs usage just in idle, so that's enough. I split the 256 gig SSD into two. If you don't have a big SSD, make sure you have enough for your ISO images so you can set them up. But as a quick demo, you can run both XP and Windows 7 and any other virtual machine that you really want. They're both running without a hitch. And then if you have a spare monitor, you can just have BTOP open. You can just look at what Proxmox is doing live. So going back to the title, this is probably the best place to set up a router like pfSense or OpenWRT or something like that. You set that up. It's just better to pass through the Ethernet ports into the VM and then just have it running like that. You'll definitely get all the speed and all the benefit, and having it all in one place and locally 24/7. Slap in a router VM, have some XP or Windows 10, 11 VMs, bit of Tailscale, run some LXC containers, host your website, it chomps through it, no problem. You can even run Jellyfin or Plex directly on this, pass through the GPU or pass through your NVIDIA GPU and play your 4K movies, no problem at all, without a hitch. So that's about it. If you like what you see, you can get this at the affiliate link in the description. I get a little kickback if you buy with my link, and that'll be greatly appreciated if you do. Thank you in advance. The 8 gig of RAM and 32 gig eMMC version, I think is $339 USD, and the 16 gigabytes of RAM with 64 gigs of eMMC is $399, I believe. But there is lots of first-time buyer discounts. There's always some sort of deal running, and I've seen these go under the $300 threshold, like $270, $260, something like that. Like, they frequently go on sale. So if your timing is right, you can get a pretty good deal. And yeah, I think this rack is about like $20, $30, something like that as well. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching this little review / hacking, pushing it to the limit type of deal. And thank you to Icewhale for sending this over to play around with. I really didn't expect that, so thank you. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. I think the next one is pretty good, so hit that subscribe button, you don't want to miss it.